So guys, Zanderson977 here today to do Zankyou Terror, also known as Terror in Resonance episode 5 review, and this is an iconic episode, right? The same 5, right? Same episode number 5, the same number 5 that shows up later on in this episode, but I get to that later in my review. Now this episode of Zankyou Terror, right? This is the first time that we've actually seen Sphinx's plans not go according to plans. This is the first time that we've seen Sphinx being outsmarted, but it was being outsmarted because at the same time they never expected for any of this to happen. They knew that they were dealing with the police. These other extra parties that came into this episode, as we've seen, it was totally unexpected on their behalf. And in fact, it's also ironic that these are the guys who set the bombs in the first place. And yes, they are real bombs. They set them, but they don't have any intention of killing a lot of people. They don't have intention of being mass murderers, right? This is something that I've noticed from the very beginning. These guys stole plutonium, right? If they wanted to, they could have probably leveled the whole entire city area that they live in, but it seems that that's not their main purpose. And in fact, we ourselves do not even know, the viewers, we ourselves do not even know what their main purpose is. We know that they're trying to play around with the police department. They're trying to let the police department follow their whims. Every time they make a video, they expect the police department to try to solve their riddles, so that I'm guessing that over time their hints will lay out where, as Nine says, he wants this guy Shibazaki, who is supposedly smart enough to realize the connections and to start to figure out what they really want. But in this episode there was a big interruption from this new character that we've seen being introduced as 5. And from the initial impressions, it seems that she's someone who grew up in the same facility as them, back when they were kids in this facility doing who knows what. It seems that she comes from the same background as them, but it begs, it raises some question, like, they were the two that escaped, but because she didn't escape, is she now working for that facility now as an adult? Who knows, But things have really gotten very interesting, especially in this episode, with the introduction of another member into the whole story, and that being this girl who's now number 5. So overall, this is a very spectacular episode of Zankyou Terror, at least one of the best, I would dare to say. Now in this episode of Zankyou Terror, right, I first start off where we left off last week. Lisa, she passed out at the end of last week's episode, so now 9 is constantly telling 12 that, hey, we can't have her around, we don't trust her. He's telling 12 basically that as soon as her fever is gone, they need to get her out of there, because he even says that for someone who becomes involved with them, right, there won't necessarily be a happy ending. So this is probably a hint towards later on in the series what we can expect from them. Maybe they're basically doing this mission under the whole intention of things not necessarily ending quote unquote well for them wanting to sacrifice themselves for a greater cause or a greater purpose. So that's pretty interesting, and we get some insight into probably what they might be talking about. So later on in this episode, we see Lisa, she's trying to help her on when they went out, and and they come back, she's trying to cook, and she's trying to this and she's trying to do that, right? She's trying to help her on, but apparently it's not going so well. The cooking that she didn't turn out well, and they were all eating it, and even she herself couldn't eat it. So that was a problem for them right there. Now on the other hand, right, with this new riddle that they were supposed to do, Sphinx initially made this result purposefully easy, because as typically as we've seen Sphinx behave in these couple episodes, they always make a they always basically interact with the police in a way that they know whether they are able to solve the riddle, yes or no. They interact with the police under the premise that the police should basically follow along their whims, So basically, for the first four couple episodes, the police was basically a pawn in their hands, right? Everything went according to their plan. Now things went different. Now, in this episode, right, we see this plane at this airport, and we see a couple people walking down, and one of the guys that walking down who looks like a bodyguard is, is an American. He's talking English. And, this is Japanese anime, so that's unique right here. He's talking English, and this gives a sense that there's someone new being introduced to the story. And at first we just see this, glimpses of white hair here and there, and we see her fingers, her nails, that shows that she is a girl. But later on in this episode, when they have a meeting, right, the head of the police, that guy with the bald head, I forgot his name, he got called out, and someone gave him a message, and he adjourned the meeting right here. Now later on, when Shibazaki and company figured out the riddle that Sphinx made for them, right, they expected the bomb to be taken out immediately. But as I said, if they took out the bomb, the police will be playing right into Sphinx's hands. They will be following, the puppet strings of Sphinx themselves. But it seems that, or rather we know that it's actually the girl and this new company that's being involved that is the cause of all of this change. With these guys being involved, they basically first cut off all they create an electromagnetic interference, cutting off all cell phones from being connected, from making any calls. That's the first thing that they do. Second, this girl, right, she's probably just as intelligent, just as smart as them. She basically made these fake backdoors to waste time for 9 before he found the right one, right? And in the whole process of trying to find the right one, he got flashes, he got memories of their time as childhood, and this girl with white hair was running around, right? And he gets a sudden impulse that it could be this girl. But when he finds out the real location of the train, he runs down immediately, right? He runs down immediately to try to go to where the bomb is, so that they can try to disarm the bomb, right? Now upon going there, he was pretty smart. He came down there, threw tear gas, and basically began shouting that there's a bomb, so everyone ran out. But there was this girl with headphones over her ears who didn't hear. He went just in the nick of time to save her from the blast. He got pretty burnt. He got somewhat burnt in his back, but for the most part he was okay. Even though he took the shockwave and all of that, he got knocked out, but for the most part he was okay. But at the end of the incident of all of that, right, this even goes to show you the mental prowess of this 5 girl, right? How smart she actually is. She probably even knew that they would have, found a way over her countermeasure, and she said that this is this is the first this is the best meeting that they could have, or something like that. So she knows about them. She knows who's involved. She probably knows that it's 9 and 12, 1 and 2. She knows that they got around that train trick, maybe intentionally, maybe not. We see later on. But she sent this message saying that, we found you. So, and then 9 himself says that yes, it's 5. So this 5 girl, I'm guessing that because 9 and 12 escaped from this facility that we've seen them being in for so long, and 5 was supposed to escape with them. In a couple episodes back, we see a flashback of 5 wanting to escape with them but couldn't escape. She was left behind. So I'm guessing that because she was left behind, she's working with that whatever facility that she was left behind with, right? She's doing what they would have normally done, if they didn't escape their own circumstances. But overall, I love this new girl. She basically comes into the story and spices things up. She changes everything. Now Sphinx has a real issue on their hands, not just the police department, but the police department is one thing. I'm sure that they could handle them, even though Shibazaki was working for them. That could have been somewhat challenging maybe, but because of this new party, I can bet that Sphinx will have a hard time on their hands letting their agenda go as they wish or want it to go in the next coming weeks. Maybe this girl already found out her base or their location, because when 9 was trying to hack in, he found out that his own computer was actually being hacked into. Maybe it was being hacked into to be diverted and not find out his location, but who knows. From now on, anything is up in the air, anything is up for grabs, right? Anything is possible. So as I said, this is a very spectacular episode. This is awesome. I loved it very much, and I can't wait to see the next one. So that's it. That's my review. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe. Sayonara.